Hello there, it's Troy, and welcome to another podcast on my fantastic channel. And maybe you're listening to this on iTunes or on SoundCloud as well. So welcome to the show. It's the 11th of May. I'm recording this a bit later than I normally do because I have been knee-deep in work today, because the webinars for the CAD Academy, that's Charisma and Dating Academy course, started today. So I did the first one this morning, and then I've got another one to do later on, and I've been doing some other bits and pieces as well. But that's enough of my sob stories. We can put the tiny violin away. But it's been pretty busy, actually. So anyway, I'm recording this a little bit later on than normal. And what I want to talk about today is the top 10 best things about lockdown. Yes, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to put a positive spin on this, as much for my own benefit as for yours. But seriously, there are a few good things about the situation that we currently find ourselves in. Or if not good things, there are at least ways in which you can use the time that we have at the moment productively. So that's what I want to talk about. We're going into that in a second. As far as announcements from me are concerned this week, not a great deal to say really, except that do get on my daily email list. The link is below, because that is really, I send out a free article Monday to Friday most weeks, and yeah, it's a good way to keep in touch, just in case people get deplatformed and all these kinds of different things happen. So it's really worth getting onto that if you enjoy my content. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is Renegade's Dating Blueprint, which is my collection of 11 books about dating, game, the dating marketplace and all of that. Good stuff. Is currently still $39, but I am putting up the price quite significantly to $69 this week. So if you wanted to grab that bundle, I'll leave it at $39 for the rest of today, Monday, the 11th of May, and maybe into tomorrow, but I will be putting up that price soon. So if you want to grab that, then go to the link below and get on board as quickly as you can. Aside from that, well, how's everyone doing? I mean, it's been an odd time, and the odd time continues. Lockdown is apace still in most countries across the West. As I say, look, this isn't going to go on forever. Things will change. We are going to see that dating bonanza that I've been promising you for a while. It is going to happen. But, we may have to be a little bit patient. Certainly things are easing up a little bit here in the UK and across Europe, and I think in the States as well. But we're just really going to have to see how things play out, if you like. And all of that being said, I am not somebody who particularly likes being constrained. I'm somebody who, I love freedom. That's my number one value in life, if you like, really. Freedom, autonomy, the freedom of the individual. Excuse me. It's incredibly important to me, both on a personal level and just from the point of view of the principle of the thing as well. And, when measures are put in place which sort of take away the autonomy of the individual, sure, that concerns me to some extent. That is something I think we need to be careful about, and I think as a society we need to interrogate closely, watch closely, and we need to ask questions of. However, we are in an unprecedented time, for sure, and things are as they are. So with that in mind, what are the good things about this? Are there any positives to pull out of this? And particularly for somebody who's come to this channel, they're probably interested in the player lifestyle. They're interested in improving their dating life at the very least. You want to get out there, you want to meet new people, you want to meet new girls, bring them into your life and enjoy the sweet fruits of all of that activity. And at the moment, we are tied down, and we're tied down, and not even in a good way. We're just tied down, and we're not allowed to go out, and dating has become very difficult for obvious reasons, and so on and so forth. So you might look at all of that and think, well, this is just a disaster. This is, I may as well hang up my player boots and just give up the whole enterprise as a bad mistake, because clearly there's no way forward from here. But that is not how I look at it. That's not how I see it, okay? And guys have been emailing me and sending me messages and saying things like, look, what do I do? What is the best way for me to, be meeting new girls, be getting involved with, new people, socializing, dating and stuff like that when we have a lockdown? And look, I mean, there is no magic bullet cure for this. There isn't some secret coterie of sexual activity happening hidden away somewhere and I just give you the special code and you can go and access it. It's just not like that. We are living in these unprecedented times. Things are very, very unusual at the moment. And clearly, by and large, you're just not going to get the same access that you would normally get. That's not to say that people aren't hooking up. That's not to say that things aren't still happening. I'm sure they are. But, it's going to be in a minority of cases. And, online game is probably still your best bet, to be honest. Online game is kind of where it's at because obviously people are meeting online as opposed to in real life. So that is something you definitely need to look into. If you signed up for the pandemic pickup course that John Modern Life Dating did with Myron Gaines, I will be hopefully popping into a few of those webinars and sort of getting involved with that. And I think that is something that is going to be really helpful to you because as it stands to reason, online game is kind of key at the moment. But let's be honest, by and large, this is not, right now is not a boom time for dating. I believe that that's going to change, and I think there's a lot of pent-up demand. But right now, as we speak, it isn't a boom time. It's not like normal. It's not that you can just walk out of your house and meet somebody and hook up with them and maybe bring them back later that day or something like that. It's just not going to happen in that same way. So, what do you do? What is good about this period? Right, let's get into the list of the top 10 things. Okay, the first thing that is good about lockdown is it gives you the opportunity to practice long game. Now, I've talked about long game before. I actually did a podcast or a video quite recently, I think, about this topic of long game. That is to say, how to keep the spark going over a longer period of time than usual. So, whereas normally perhaps you might meet somebody and be texting them for a couple of days and then sort of suggest a date and you guys meet up and go for a drink and whatever. At the moment, that is unlikely to happen. You're going to have to keep that long game up. You're going to have to keep her on the hook, as it were, interested in a flirty way without losing momentum for longer, for weeks, months, hopefully we're not talking too much longer now, but certainly a few more weeks, month or so, whatever, before you guys realistically can meet up. So this is a fantastic opportunity to practice a skill that can sometimes be overlooked in this space, which is the ability not just to spark attraction, but to keep attraction simmering over a period of time. And as I've said in other bits of content, the best way really to do that is to not be up in her business the whole time. You've got to give some space. You can't be messaging every day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon saying, hello, how's it going? Did you have a nice day? Or whatever it is. It's got to be a bit sporadic. It's got to feel organic and spontaneous. And you've got to be a little bit cheeky. You've got to be a little bit flirty. And you've got to vary what you're sending her. You've got to vary the interaction. So maybe you're sending a meme, maybe you're sending a picture, maybe you're sending a voice message, etc., etc., etc. And you've got to be flirty as well. You've got to bring that sort of slight naughtiness to the table. But this is a great opportunity for you to practice long game. And look, even when lockdowns are lifted, you're still going to need long game from time to time, particularly if you're traveling, particularly if you're moving around a lot and you're not sort of sitting in one position the whole time. And you need to maintain spark. You need to maintain interest over a period of time. Long game is a great skill to have. And right now, it's a brilliant time to practice it. All right, number 2. The second thing. Right now, lockdown is a great opportunity to work on DHV Stories. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, DHV is an old game dating acronym which stands for Demonstration of Higher Value. Now, a lot of the time, guys will say, okay, so I open the girl, I go and say hi, I then want to build attraction, but I run out of things to say. I'm not sure what I should say. Well, a lot of the time, and this works in the daytime and in night game, what you should be saying is something in the form of a story. You should be going into a narrative. You should be telling her something. You should be saying something fun and engaging and exciting in order to get her excited, in order to show that you can master a social situation, and in order to show that you've got some stuff going on for you, right? You want to be able to tell a story, and you want to be able to tell a story that makes you look good, but not in a try-hard, cheesy way. And that is what we call a DHV story. Now, the problem with DHV stories is that we often don't really prepare them, because we often don't really prepare before we go out, because it feels a little bit lame, you know. And so you're not in a position to come out with a DHV story that's going to engage and is going to hold her attention. Well, guess what? Now that you're furloughed and you're off work and we've got hours and hours and weeks of just sitting around, what better opportunity is there than to work on DHV stories? So what I want you to do is to take some time out, sit by the computer or with a pen and paper, and just think back through your memories. Really rack the brain. Remember some really cool, crazy things that have happened to you and write them up as little anecdotes. Write them up as little stories. Showing yourself in a good light. Showing yourself as the hero. Showing yourself as, you know, somebody who is pre-selected by other women. Showing yourself as a leader of men, if you've got a story like that. You know, maybe you were on a campsite and then the tent collapsed and you were the one who had to sort everyone out to rebuild it, or something like that. Think of stories that are going to put you in a good light, and then write them up as little anecdotes, and spend a bit of time practicing them as well, so that you're able to say them in an engaging and fun way when you go out. I tell you what, this is massive. You just spend a little bit of time doing that. The next time you're out, you're going to be able to bring that to the party, and that is going to just that is going to skyrocket your game, man. That is just so valuable. So the fact that you've got the time to do it now, this is fantastic. And this is really, I've talked before about hitting the ground running when we come out of this. This is a great way to do it, right? If you've been working on your long game and then you're working on your DHV stories as well, you're going to be miles ahead of the pack. And that brings me to the next point, which again, I created a piece of content on last week. The last podcast actually was about this. You have the perfect chance at the moment to record yourself to practice conversations. And when I say record, I mean you can make a video of yourself or you can record audio. Now, you can combine the two things. You can write a DHV story, putting yourself in that good light, and then you can practice in front of the mirror. And then you can practice by recording a video of yourself telling that DHV story. And then you can record an audio version of yourself telling that DHV story. So you can really focus in on your voice, listen to your intonation, listen to your tonality. Again, amazing opportunity to do this. People say, oh, well, you know, if I can't go out and talk to girls, how am I going to practice this stuff? Well, actually, you can. Actually, you can go and practice this stuff. It's just that you have to be a little bit creative. But in a sense, we should be doing these kinds of exercises anyway. This is old school stuff. You know, people used to do this back in the day. People used to practice their DHV stories. They used to record themselves. They used to do improv classes and things like that in order to get better. We don't tend to do it these days because there was such a shift towards natural game, which is a good thing. But given that we've got all this time on our hands, then it's a really, really awesome opportunity to be working on these fundamental social skills, which are going to stand you in great stead when we start to emerge from the shadows. Number 4, now is an awesome time to get in shape. It's a great time to get ripped. Now listen, I know the gyms are closed, okay? So let's not get too much into the weeds with all of that. I know there's the argument about can you get as big, for example, without weights and gym equipment. People will say no. I've heard other people coming at it from a different angle. They've got a different view. They say that actually, yes, you can put on muscle, but you just have to work harder. You just have to do more reps and so on and so forth. I'm not a specialist in this area, so I don't want to get into that argument. But look, fundamentally, there's a hell of a lot that you can do. Namely, you can do running, cycling, you can do these cardio type things, you can do high intensity training, and you can do calisthenics, exercises at home. And there are loads and loads of YouTube videos. There are loads of apps that you can get. There's just such a lot of content that covers in this space. And you could be doing exercising every day. You can spend, more time on it than probably you usually could. Fantastic opportunity, if not to get ripped, at least to keep in shape. But you can get into really great shape because you've just got so much more time to put to it. You're not constrained in the way that you normally are when you're at work or when you're going out every night or whatever it is. Great opportunity to get into shape and to stay in shape. Again, it's going to stand you in such good stead when we get out of this. Number 5, time to plan. Okay, so there are so many areas of your life that you need to make decisions about and you need to sort of work out. But just focusing on the dating stuff, perhaps you've been thinking about going away and doing a trip. Maybe you're thinking, if you're in the UK, you're in London, you might be thinking, when this is over, I want to go to Barcelona because I love Spanish girls. I want to meet some Spanish girls. I want to have some cool experiences over there. Maybe you're thinking about going to Eastern Europe, to Poland, to Krakow, to Warsaw, to Prague, to Lithuania, to any of these places. Maybe you've been considering a trip. Well, now is an amazing time to plan. It's time to look into the opportunities, to look into the sorts of places you can go to find out about accommodation, to work out logistics, to read reports of those places and to find out exactly how other guys have got on when they've been to these different cities, these different locations. Great opportunity to really plan your fantasy itinerary. Now, on the one hand, you might think, well, what's the point of doing that? Because, we don't know how long this is going to go on for and I'm just sitting at home and it's, et cetera, et cetera. But don't be so negative about it, right? Because if you do this and if you start to plan it, in effect, what you're doing is visualization. And visualization, without being a hippie about it, is very powerful, okay? What you plan, what you write down, very often ends up happening. And most of the things that I have planned, things that I've written down in my life, have ended up happening for me in my life. So it is very, very powerful. Be a little bit careful with it, actually, because it's so powerful. But yes, planning your next move when we emerge like tigers, uncaged, after all of this, is a great thing to do. And it'll get you excited and keep the momentum and the motivation going as well, because there needs to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you plan, you're giving yourself your own light at the end of the tunnel. Number 6, it's time for creativity. Now, for myself, because I'm working in this rather unusual job, I'm able to be creative in a sense quite a lot of the time because it's part of what I do. But nevertheless, even for me, my next project now, after this week and after we have got over the webinar season, if you like, the webinars that I'm doing this week, then my next project is actually a piece of fiction. It's actually a novel. And I've had it on my desk for a long time. I've been planning it for a long time. And now is the time to to sit down, put my money where my mouth is and get on with the work. That's just how it is. And, the likelihood is I would have done this. I would have been working on it anyway. But I had to do various other things first. I had to get the Infields product out. I had to get the online course out. And I've done those things. I've put those things to one side. Now there is time for creativity. And because I can't go out at night, because I can't do the usual social engagements I'm doing, then, and obviously I'm not going into an office or anything like that, I've got all the time in the world, really. I mean, what else is there to do? I could be watching old episodes of Love Island, but that aside, there really is very, very little to do. So I might as well immerse myself in this creative project, and you can do the same thing as well. Now, it doesn't need to be writing a book. Maybe you could be learning the guitar. Maybe you could be learning the piano. Maybe you could be writing music. You could be learning to DJ. You could be, there's all sorts of things that you could be doing. But just allowing yourself to open up to creativity is a great thing, because it's going to give you an extra dimension to your personality, which is going to be great when you go out and start interacting with girls again. But also, hopefully it's going to absorb you and it's going to take you into flow state. And as we know, flow state is incredibly powerful. That is that state where you are working on something that you love and you are transfixed by it. And it takes you away from the here and now, from the boring, mundane, day-to-day reality. Incredibly powerful. And hopefully, just through being a bit creative, maybe trying some different things, you're going to find a passion that could, it could go anywhere. This period of time could change your life. This lockdown period, because of the enforced, not having much to do, not being able to go out, this could entirely change your life if you grasp it in a positive, welcoming manner. And creativity is a really good way to do this. At minimum, even if you can't think of anything else to do, at minimum, what you can do is keep a journal or get up in the morning and write 3 pages of A4 paper, just stream of consciousness. Don't think about punctuation, don't think about meaning, don't think about the vocabulary or the grammar, just write, okay? And at a minimum, if you just do that, it's going to show you things about your subconscious that you didn't know before. You are going to get ideas, you're going to get inspired. And that is, an awesome thing to do. And that could then spark off the next idea. So at a minimum, I'd recommend doing that. But any other sort of creative pursuit that you fancied in the past, get to it, because it's going to take you in a good direction for sure. Number 7, it is a great time to build a business. Now, obviously, it depends where you are at the moment in terms of your career. I'm not suggesting that you do something that's sort of somehow risky. I'm not saying that you spend a load of money or anything like that. In fact, I would always advise against that. I've always been much more in favour of bootstrapping a business than doing something that's sort of costly, that's going to be economically risky for you, as I was saying with the interview with Rich Cooper the other week. But right now, again, you've got all this time, great time to start a business, and don't fall into the misapprehension that because of the economy and everything else, this is a terrible time as far as finance is concerned, because actually, April and May, I've had some of the most financially lucrative times of my entire career. So, and let's see how things go, because obviously the longer this goes on, there are certainly, risks to the economic situation without a doubt. And I don't want to underplay that by any means. But, if you can bring value to the market and you're motivated and you're persistent, then there is money to be made. And now is a good time, or as good a time as any, to get on with starting something. So you don't need to, even if you're just doing research, even if you're just thinking of ideas for a product, even if you're just starting a blog, whatever it is, start now, because now is a good time to do it. Okay? Number 8. Time to read more. I have been reading a lot during lockdown. I've been reading twice a day, spending time with lots of different kinds of books, from self-help to classics to things associated with my business to stuff about game, all kinds of different things. And it's been fantastic, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And, reading is, if not free, it's certainly very inexpensive. And it's a great time to do it because you can just lose yourself in it, I spend about an hour in the morning reading before I get out of bed, and it's brilliant. It's a great way to set me up, in the morning for the day. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I hope that you're reading anyway, because it's a great foundational habit. But if you're not, I would suggest that you do. You can easily buy a Kindle. Maybe if you've got an iPhone, you can get the Kindle app on your iPhone, probably other smartphones as well, Android. Start reading. You can download books for free. You can buy second-hand books very cheaply. You might not want to do that at the moment with the Rona going around, but yeah, you can get books relatively inexpensively or indeed for free, and you can certainly get electronic books straight off the internet, no problem at all. So read more if you read already, and if you're not reading, then start reading, because it's an amazing habit and it will change your life. Most of the stuff I've ended up doing in my life has been as a direct result of something that I've read, either an article and more frequently a book. So, number 9, it is a great opportunity to engage in spiritual practices. Now, I don't mean that you have to become a hippie and start doing weird shaman style, chanting or something in your front room. But you can if you want. I mean, it'd be cool, but you don't have to. What I'm saying is, now is a great time just to explore your spiritual side a little bit. That's things like meditation. That's things like, even prayer if you like, but certainly meditation. At reading spiritual books, looking at things like Buddhism, understanding how these different spiritual groups think and how they perceive life. Now, why is this valuable? Well, because we all need to be grounded, right? And meditation in particular is incredible for grounding you, for making you feel at one with the universe. All of that sounds like BS, I get it. However, remember, it was not for no reason that RSD would always recommend Eckhart Tolle. So Eckhart Tolle's books about stillness, about being in the moment, and so on and so forth, The Power of Now, incredibly powerful stuff. And it is really useful in terms of meeting girls. Why? Because when you're in the club and you're standing in front of that 9 out of 10 hottie, and she's looking at you, giving you that bitch stare, if you can be in the moment, if you can be self-possessed, if you can be unconcerned by her and by the outcome and by what other people maybe are saying standing near to you and all of that, man, you're in a good position. You're in a really good position, because most guys don't have that level of composure. If you've got that level of composure, well, you are ahead of the pack. And ultimately, you can get it in fake ways by pretending to be alpha and all of these things. But the only real core way of getting to that state of being unconcerned, that state of just not giving a damn, no fucks given, the best way of doing that is through meditation or through a connectedness to the spiritual, okay? So, look into it, read some stuff online, watch some YouTube videos, try some meditation. It will revolutionize things for you, I can tell you for nothing. And finally, that is finally, isn't it? Number 10, time to rest. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's a good time to rest. We live in a very fast-paced world. We are all chasing our tails the whole time. We're all out there trying to make the dollar, trying to impress people, trying to buy random crap that we don't need to sate our materialistic tendencies, etc., etc. Well, the wheel has been stopped momentarily. It's been called to a halt. There is an opportunity just to chill, just to relax, just to take stock, okay? So spend a bit of time resting, because look, when this is over, everyone's going to be out there like a bunch of crazed lunatics, going and partying and hooking up and all of these kinds of things. And that's great, and that's something to look forward to. But right now, you might as well accept this for what it is. The opportunity to relax, to rest, and to have some time to yourself. All right, those are the 10 greatest things about lockdown. My top 10 anyway. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some value from that. As I say, please firstly subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're not listening to this on YouTube, head to my YouTube channel and subscribe there. Really, really helps me out to get more people on board so I can continue to put out this content. Also, do subscribe to my daily email, which I send out a free email Monday to Friday with an article in it, plus news, offers, etc., etc. The link is in the description below. And finally, Renegade Dating Blueprint, my collection of 11 books about dating, game, etc. You can still get that for $39 today. That price will be going up this week, though, to $69. So hit the link below ASAP if you want to pick it up for that original price. All right, that's it for now. I will leave it there, and we will speak again very soon. Bye-bye.